What's up, YouTube? It's your boy Travis with another video, and this video is about a reaction. Well, I don't have a second phone or tablet to react to the video on YouTube, so I'm just gonna like point the camera on myself while y'all hear the background of the video. So yeah, it's about Anton Daniels' reaction on a person who went big on YouTube, but he lost everything and then he got a regular job. So what this particular video what I'm about to point at is like, well, I'll let you hear what he has to say when I play the video. Alrighty, here we go.
I had almost 90,000 subscribers on YouTube, but somehow I was still broke. The name of my channel, Preacher from Broke. Around 2018, I made my first video with my friend named DeAndre. He was in college, sitting down, made a video. It was cool. I went to my bro's school and we did a video. I think it was Questions Girls Have for Guys. Video like 100K views. We got a lot of traction, and then from there we became the bros. In my head, I'm like, yo, if we stay consistent, we're gonna win. This is the plan. Everybody was on board.
Looks like all of his videos is basically demonetized except for the one that's in the middle. That's 2149. So a lot of times people get a lot of traction, but that doesn't.
Well, in the video, he's looking at the guy who has 21,000 views. Yeah, if I'm saying that correctly, or if he said something else. But y'all can rewind the video and look and hear what he had to say. But we're almost at the point where I wanted to like say something. All right.
Necessarily translate into resources.
We was doing it. It was popping. We was flying out. We was going on vacation. We was doing things. We was making money. It was going well. And then people move, consistency stopped, and life hit. Subscribers don't pay the bills. I was doing Instacart and DoorDash in between us doing videos just to make some extra money. I also was selling merch. I didn't have the best money management at the time. It didn't work how it was supposed to work. I had a kid. The money wasn't coming in quick enough. I couldn't really be the best that I wanted to be. My girlfriend was telling me to get a job. I'm not trying to get a job. I thought getting a job was meaning I quit. So I didn't want to get a job. I was like, yo, how am I gonna do this? One day I was doing Instacart and it was really slow. On the phone, my guy Big, like he just got a job at Facts at the time. He told me like, yo, bro, I think you should get a job. You can always still be a content creator, but you need money. I started applying for jobs, getting rejected. Nobody hit me back. Big sent me a link to Amazon. I applied, got a job. If you have a dream or a goal, a job doesn't really stop your goal. A job is to help you. It doesn't hinder you. Ever since I got a job, I've been more stable, life has been better, I've been able to pay my bills on time, I've been able to help my child more, help my son more. So having a job has this stability that I didn't have before. If you have a dream or a goal, a job doesn't mean you quit. A job just means you chose another route.
I actually really like this video because it shows you the tell between what people think and what is the reality. The reality.
Okay, he's about to say it. Well, he's about to say a few things about like a job and all, but almost. Okay, I won't pause it again, guys.
Is that most content creators are not generating enough revenue, regardless of what their subscribers are, to actually be able to sustain themselves on that alone. I've seen people jump on these platforms and say, hey man, I got laid off, but I'm a content creator on TikTok or Instagram, and so I'm about to go into that full time. And then I've also seen people go into long form content on YouTube, which in my opinion is it's the hardest, and it's much more difficult because you have to actually do something that keeps people's attention much longer versus the
That's
microwave stuff
true.
that allows for you to build easy platforms on TikTok and things like that. I've seen people do longer form content and they fail miserably. But here's the biggest thing. It's nothing wrong with getting a job. And more importantly, I would tell people to get a job until your dreams completely take off. My rule of thumb is this, and make sure y'all tap into the Patreon link is in the description as well as into the top of the chat. My rule of thumb is this, is that you have to get a job to fund your dreams. It helps you to maintain your lifestyle.
He always said you had to get a job to like to fund your dreams. Okay, yeah, I get that, but the main thing is getting a job. But you had to get an interview in order to get that job. I mean, nobody's hiring these days. Well, they didn't hire last year, 2025, and now this year it's the same thing. So in order to get that job, you have to have an interview, or they have to look at your resume to see like if you fit it for that position, like associate stocks association, cashier, all any type of job that's suited like for them to like to choose for you. But or actually, basically, I'm just saying that you have to have an interview to get the job. Without the interview, you can't get no job, and with no job, you can't get bread. So basically, you got to have the interview. You got to like see what they what they what you have they need, and that's very rare. That's very rare these days, and it's not often talked about. So he says that you get a job, but he didn't say that you have to have an interview. You have to be spotted, like, well, no, not spotted. You have to have an interview, whether they give you an interview or not. It's the interview that counts. Because without the interview, then you can't just like say, "Hey, look, I can't get a job, please. I'm desperate," and all that stuff. Yeah, nothing against Anton Daniels. Nothing in what he says that I'm like against, and I'm not trying to bash him and all that stuff. But what he says about getting a job is it sort of touched me a little bit about it, because if you don't have the interview, if they don't give you an interview, then you can't get that job. And even if you make the interview, they like give the job to someone else. That happens. And or when they have an interview with someone, then the hiring offering is off. The hiring offer is off, because they're like limited, because the companies are limited, like how many people to hire these days and all. So yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Here we go.
It also allows for your dreams to get funded, and it allows for you to generate enough revenue to be able to take care of yourself and take care of your family. It's nothing wrong with getting a job.
Well, there's nothing wrong.
Everybody tries to make it seem like, oh man, just because you got.
There's nothing wrong getting a job, but again, you have to have the interview. Without the interview, there's no job. Or even, well, if you get the interview, they'll put you in or let you go. Either or. You still need the interview to get the job.
Visibility, or you have some semi-famous whatever, so on and so forth. I know people that got 1 million followers or 1 million, on Instagram, and they'll make no money from that. Popularity don't always translate into a job. Then you got to figure out how to monetize.
True.
I talk about that in the Patreon extensively about how to generate the most revenue possible. But my point is just that it's nothing wrong with having a job. And now we've gotten to the point to where people have demonized actually getting a real life job. They have made it to seem like, oh, getting a job is it means you failed or whatever. And I'm trying to figure out, when did becoming an employed person, regardless of how you get your money, whether you got a job or you generate revenue or you do whatever it is that you do on a regular basis, when did that become an issue? When did we get to the point to where, hey, we start downing people for working and doing an honest thing and making an honest living? I never understood that. It never made sense to me whatsoever. But we live in an era and a time where people think just because you're social media famous, that somehow, some way, because content creators are the way, but there's so many more out there. And you're talking about brand deals, you're talking about all of these different things. Most people, 98, 99% of people don't make enough money to be able to not go to work every day. You know what I'm saying? So when you start to think about that, when you start to really put that in perspective.
So my coach turned back with me.
Okay, y'all. I'll come back with the video once the ads skip comes on. I'll be right back. Okay, guys, I'm back. The ad skip took a little while to show up, but it's here now. I mean, the video's back now, so I'm gonna play it.
And I can't believe you got a job. Got a job. How does that make sense? So I salute him because he put away childish things, and it doesn't mean that his dreams don't continue. I think that one of the biggest
I hope
problems
y'all
with
hear
people
it in the
is that they
background.
don't put themselves on a schedule. They're not consistent, and so just because you get subscribers, don't mean that they're gonna stick around. Because if you are not putting out good content consistently, especially on YouTube, then people are going to check out, and the algorithm is not going to be checking for you, and you're going to fall off. And so, one of the biggest keys to success is being successful consistently. And that is how you build a following. That is how people trust your voice. That's how people trust your judgment because they actually rock out with you or they want to hear what you got to say. I think that this brother is doing incredible. You know what I'm saying? Hopefully, he's continuing his YouTube journey. There was a lot of people that popped off 2018, 19, 20, 21, 22. Like those years were the years where it's like, wait a minute, this thing is a movement. You know what I'm saying? Like social media really is a thing. You need to really pay attention to it. I've seen people fall off after that because, once everybody not being home and the build up to it, and then you had the pandemic and then everybody, being home or whatever, it didn't translate further into, just being regular or whatever like that. And so that's how you go about doing stuff. That's how you go about figuring out life. That's how you go about getting your stripes. It's not about if you have to take a step back. It's about if you can endure through it. And so if you are on a social media journey or you're trying to figure it out, first of all, you got to figure out if you even got motion. Like some people just not good at it. And there's plenty of things that people are not good at. You just can't do. I know people that ain't good at sales that wanted to get into medical sales. I know people that, they just wasn't good at, leadership or being a leader or being able to communicate and convince people that they should do something that they already didn't have within their repertoire. And so, that was difficult for them. And so, sometimes you can get over it, sometimes you can't, and other times you just got to pivot. But if you are good at this thing and you do have motion and you're trying to figure out how to do it, don't be ashamed of going to get a regular job to be able to sustain yourself while you're building this thing, while you're trying to figure it out, while you're trying to make it make sense for you. I've worked.
Yeah, he works multiple jobs. That's what he was going to say, but mainly, I was just saying like you have to have an interview to get the job. Without the interview, you gotta get the job. That's he's saying about the job thing, getting the job thing again. So everything else about YouTube, he's right. You have to have the grind and all that. You have to have the patience, and you got to build it up, uh, momentum and all. But well, I'm talking about the job thing, what he said about the job. But or I mean, it's okay to get the job or a regular job to help with your YouTube. There's no problem with that. But still, you have to have the interview. That's why I'm pointing it out. You have to have an interview. Even if you apply to multiple jobs, you still got to have the interview. That's plain and simple. Without the interview, there's no job. Period.
Multiple different jobs all throughout my journey, even when I retired in 2019. And then I came back to working a regular job because I had got an offer that was crazy. I'm not leaving no money on the table just because everybody else think it makes sense. Once my journey in this thing superseded what I was doing outside of it, then that's when it told me that I'm supposed to leave alone what it is that I had going out there. Because, I wasn't willing to forego what I was generating for what I was making outside of it, even if it was that good, because I would be losing too much money. So it just tells you, what you do online or what you do for a living will tell you when it's time to move along, get in a different space, operate
All
differently, whatever it is that you got to do. It
all
will
this
speak to
out
you and
getting
it
the
will tell
job,
you
like everything you're
exactly what you're
saying
supposed to do. But if you
is
just
100%
saying that
true,
it's bad to get a job just because you want
except
something
for the
immediate,
getting the
then I
job
think that you've
thing.
completely lost your mind. Remember, it's never
Yeah,
bad to work. It's never bad to hustle. It's never bad to get to it. And I also think that a lot of people be ashamed of people seeing them working a regular job just because they are on social media. Let me know what you think inside of the comments. Make sure you tap into the Patreon. Link is in the description. Teach Heavily, 40% off your first order, 20% off for life. I love y'all. Appreciate you. I'll let you guys later. Peace.
There you have it. So, yeah, that's why I wanted to point it out. Everything he's saying is true about YouTube. I mean, it's it's a little slow, but yeah, you'll build it up once you put in more video and like the videos that ideas that you can put up that people will like. And uh everything he's saying about YouTube is right. The job thing, you have to have an interview to get that job, if like permanently. But yeah, everything he's saying is about true except for the job, getting the job. So I just wanted to point that out, and hope y'all are good and well and all that stuff. And yeah, I just wanted to point it out. And there's nothing wrong. There's nothing against Anton Daniels. So I don't have no grudge against him. I just have just one like disagreement of him about getting a job. That's it. Just one disagreement. And he's doing a perfect job. He's doing a great job. Nothing is perfect, but he's doing a great job, and I wish him the best. God blesses him and his family and all, and yeah, keep on doing the work, man. Alrighty, see y'all next time. Peace.